Hey, doctor, what are 5 biohacking tips for longevity?
Oh, that's a really good question. I know to biohacking,
Yeah.
and it's a hot topic right now. So biohacking as a physician, I just usually recommend certain things that we know that have some clinical um, kind of like evidence behind it. And it's really cool because the purpose of biohacking, let's talk about biohacking. So biohacking um, gives that power for ordinary people, to kind of defy aging and reverse it, which is nice. And the good news, there are measures right now. There's a blood test that can make check. If somebody's like, checking their blood, and then we find it's like, oh, you're born and you're 50 years old. We can do these protocols of biohacking, and now we can reverse your aging, and you can track it every year. You find out you're growing backwards. Yeah. Very growing old backwards, which is really cool. I think that's a really cool thing to, kind of know. Yeah. Because like we can do biohacking. Is it working or not? Right. So biohacking is for everybody. It's really cool. And hacking used to be a bad word. Like I'm going to hack the computer, but biohacking is really cool because you're fooling your body almost like you're hacking your body to get great results. So one of my favorite things that is cheap and easy, right? Intermittent fasting. So we've learned that intermittent fasting, number one, if you do it 16 hours or 18 hours, it doesn't have to be the long one. So we're going to talk about 16-hour one. Meaning like if you eat dinner and then wait, not have breakfast and have lunch, right? So you're going almost 16 hours, 18 hours also if you can do that. It depends. You can modulate this about like how you're comfortable. This is really good because if you have a protein meal at night, which I recommend, a little protein and vegetables, then and hydrate. And then you don't have anything for the breakfast, which is not my favorite meal. And then you have lunch. So meaning you're having 2 meals. When you reduce the amount of food you eat, this is one of the best biohacks. Eating less caloric intake makes you live longer. That's number one. Number two, if you're doing the intermittent fasting for 16 to 18 hours and breaking your fast, maybe not on carbs, that's a really good one too, because you're burning some of your sugar that has accumulated that you don't need. And now you're getting into the fats kind of like to burn. So it's really cool that you're not getting into the protein yet. So if you do a very prolonged fast, then you're really getting into your protein. So I've heard some people doing prolonged fast for a month. I really don't recommend that, the water fast for a month, because you're really dipping into your proteins.
I have a question. What about folks that argue that intermittent fasting can affect hormones and can deregulate those?
Okay, so everything in our body runs on a circadian rhythm, on positive and negative feedback mechanism, and everything is very well connected. So one of the hormones that you're going to affect, really the most important one that we think is useful to affect is your insulin resistance. So intermittent fasting, there's so many clinical studies that shows that it affects the insulin resistance, or now we have a lot of people, since they've been eating unhealthy or all the additives in the food or the corn syrup and all that kind of stuff, have created an insulin resistance, meaning that their sugar is high. Insulin is trying to counteract that, constantly drive it into the cell, but it's not happening. So there's a state of insulin resistance. Another hormone that might be affected is leptin. These are the ones that would be maybe possibly affected, but I don't think the other hormones should not be really affected. So the benefits outweigh. Of course, yes. Yeah. What's the second biohacking tip you have for us? So my second biohacking tip, a lot of people like to do the hot and the cold. We have the genes that support that. So a hot sauna is a great thing to do in the morning. So a hot sauna is a great thing to do in the morning if you can. So if you have a hot sauna, it's good to do that every day. The biggest detox organ in your body is your skin. So you're sweating out those toxins, heavy metals, toxins that you eat in food. So sweating is a great thing to do. Saunas, infrared saunas are very important. You need to find out the type of infrared sauna. So do you have one at home? Mm-mm. Okay. So finding out the best infrared sauna that doesn't have bad emissions, the PMS, whatever's, and then also making sure it's far infrared where it goes deeper into your tissues. So there are manufacturers you have to be really doing your due diligence and studies to make sure you're getting a good infrared sauna. Some of them are small and you can have them in a small space area, and they're kind of like they fold. That's what I have, compact. I have mine that I got from Google, like from the company, from online, not Google, from online. I met them in a conference, so I know the engineer who created it. They also have red light therapy in it. So I do my infrared sauna. I do that for 30 minutes a day, even 20 minutes. I do that with my my other biohack, which is like I do brainwave entrainment through a headset and sit and meditate, sit in my sauna. It's my quiet time. I do 30 minutes. And then the biohack that goes with this, you're doing heat and you're doing sweating. Then you jump into the cold shower. I don't have a cold plunge at home. Not everybody has a cold plunge. These are expensive. And you don't have to go buy ice and put a cold shower. A cold shower is much longer. So I would say it's a little bit longer. I would say 5 minutes would be great if you can do 5 minutes, but even a few minutes would be fine. The most important areas is you hit the cold here, and the brown fat in the back of your neck, which is brown fat.
But why those three?
These are the areas with the brown fat. That's the mitochondria. It's called the brown fat. That's where you want to simulate that mitochondrial effect. So these are the areas. And then you can have it on the rest of your bodies. This is what my startup, and your body gets used to it. And it's very refreshing. First days, you might not like it. So first days, you can take like 1 minute and stop, right? You can sing through it.
Yeah.
But later on, you will be able to do that maybe for 2-3 minutes more.
Are the same, but is somebody cannot do this protocol in the morning and they only have time in the evening before bed?
Yeah, you can do it in the morning. I find it very energizing. So, and taking the shower in the morning just gets you going. If you do the sauna in the morning, you sweat, you're set up for the whole day. One thing before doing that, just make sure you're hydrated. So I usually drink my water before I get into the sauna. I also hydrate after the sauna because you're going to be sweating up.
But if somebody cannot do it in the morning, it's still okay.
You can do it at night. Whatever time you have, it's fine.
Is this tip number 3 because you mentioned brainwaves?
Yes. So sleep and brainwaves is my third hack. So it's very important because sleep is where you regain your energy. So tracking your sleep is very important. There are wearables now that go, or Rave, or you have your, I just want to make sure when you get one of those wearables, you're not using it all the time. You want to make sure you're not exposing yourself to all the bad, waves that is not good for you, PM and all that kind of stuff, EMF radiations. So if you want to do something that has less radiation, so if you do ordering just to find out, track how your sleep is, it's great. And then it's very important to get into REM because that's when also you're healing and repairing. That's when growth hormone. So at night when we sleep, after we eat, we break down our food. That's why we don't want to eat 2 hours before bed. So you want to eat like a few hours before bed, especially if you're having a little bit of protein. So 3 hours, 4 hours before going to bed. Then you calm down yourself, maybe putting your headset, positive vibration sounds. It helps you to meditate, to go to sleep. There's one actually that I like by Dr. Patrick Porter. It's the brain tap. That's the one I put at night, and it helps me get those frequencies and vibrations into my brain so that I can sleep well. So I do this 20 minutes, and then sleeping, tracking your sleep, making sure you're getting REM. That's when your growth hormone is going to come out. So growth hormone is for healing and repairing. As we age, we lose growth hormone. So we want to have enough amounts of growth hormone released at night. It's released really late at night. You have all your products that you have eaten, your food, all your nutrients have been digested, ready to go, sitting on the shelves for you to be able to utilize them at sleep.
So if somebody says that they have a hard time falling asleep or a hard time going into REM, is this brain tapping, the brainwave frequencies, are those things that can help?
Yes, and I'm going to put the link on the bottom. The brain, we call it the brain tap. It's a funny name, but it has actually a protocol that we can measure your brain waves. You want the delta waves for sleep. So actually, they have a protocol for 10 days, and I, tried that. It's so amazing. You will go to sleep because it puts you into that delta waves. It helps you with actually putting you into a state of meditation, whether you like it or not. It's like not many people know how to meditate and shut their brain. But when it does that, binaural beats and doing two different frequencies that you hear into two sides of your brain, you will actually get into a meditative state, and you're going to fall asleep on it. So three biohacks that are pretty simple, easy to apply.
Well, and sleep is number 4. So what's the fifth? Well, what's the last nugget of wisdom that you can give us?
Stress. So mitigating your stress is very important. So I think like the sleep and stress would go together. You can also do like a lot of things to meditate, but also ashwagandha, valerian, some of the teas that are really amazing, and really giving yourself time so you know that your day is just like, you could even have a timer that stops you, move a little bit, take deep breath. I like to do the deep breathing where you are actually switching from sympathetic to parasympathetic, sympathetic to sympathetic throughout the day. So sympathetic system is the flight and flight mode, fight and flight. You're running away from the saber tooth. So if you do those deep breaths, like take in 5 deep breaths and keep them in, and then breathe into 5, right? And keep it in and breathe slowly out so that you're feeling like you're inhaling, filling your lung, pushing your diaphragm down, stimulating your vagus nerve. That will stimulate your parasympathetic system, shuts down your sympathetic system. If you can do that 3 times a day, that'd be cool.
And after all this for a specific amount of time?
I would do take in 5, stop 5, and then 5. And as you go, you can expand kind of 5. And then maybe you can do 7. The longer you can do this, it's like, those people months in Tibet, they can stop breathing for a while. So the slower the breathing, the better. And your breathing is 3 phases: in, stay in, and then out. And then actually trying maybe some calming teas like ashwagandha, valerian, stuff like that would be cool. And then positive vibration sound music would be amazing. And then having your sleep, that will also reduce your
brainwaves and brain tapping can help with that too. Let's do frequency.
Yes, that's absolute that.
Happy Tuesday. Rounding day. You're safe. Wake up and walk. Touch the water, touch the grass. Ground, recharge your energy.